Peace, peace, shalom. Um, African family, as we continue on with our conversations, um, I have seen that Putin has got Africans excited. Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, unveiled a huge revelation that the image of Christ was black. Yeah, I haven't even been following that story, to be honest with you, because for me, for some of us, for a lot of us, this is old news. Like, I was actually surprised that some people didn't know this. It was a mystery to them. Look, here's the reality of the so-called Middle East region. A lot of those territories in ancient times were occupied by African people, especially the so-called Israel today. You understand? That was East Africa. Obviously, ancient boundaries were drawn differently, but it was nothing like what it is now. I mean, so all those ancient civilizations, ancient Egypt, ancient Nuba, Phoenicia, the Canaanites, that whole squad there was African people. So for me, it's not like news or anything that Vladimir. And I think, we're going to get distracted, eh? Because you have to understand there's a reason that is being done. There's a reason why that is being done. You understand? It's to get this very reaction from you, the Africans, getting all excited. There's nothing incredible about that. So what? If you say Jesus was black, and for us Hebrews, we consider that if there was a messianic personage back then, his name was Yeshua, not Jesus. Anyway, it's a whole topic for another day. But you are missing the thing. See, the deception historically was not just to change the imagery, make the ancient Egyptians look like they were white, or the ancient Hebrews look like they were white, or it wasn't just the color. Yes, it is the color, but you need to understand, if the message don't change and they just change the paint, that ain't gonna do nothing for you, because they taught you the concept of a Messiah and what a Messiah is. But the concept of a Messiah is a Hebraic concept. And it means a specific thing in the Hebrew cultural context. But in the Christian religion, it's something different. They defined it different for you there. So you see, you gotta think deeper than, oh wow, Jesus was black. That's not news, folks. That is like 10 or 20 years ago, that revelation. Now we have to ask the real questions about the message, the real meaning behind everything, and what ultimately was meant to happen, because again, they compiled the Bible a certain way, left certain books out, put certain books in, had councils to debate doctrine. Think about this thing, right? Yeshua, Hebrew Messiah, caused such a stir in his time, according to the narrative. For those of you who will be saying, but what about you? Let's just go with the narrative, okay, for now. He caused a stir. He created enemies in the religious sectors, in the political sectors, you understand? But mostly the religious sector, because it is in the religious sector that they went to the politicians to say, this guy is a problem. He's a problem. And again, you see the sellout. Huh? I mean, how this is Hebrews going to Romans to tell on one of their own. I want us to think, Africans, and let's think about our own history. Almost all the leaders were assassinated here. It was from the inside. It was the guy who was sitting next to Thomas Sankara. It was the guy sitting next to Patrice Lumumba. Yes. We gotta think. How were you defeated? How were you conquered? Sure, you could factor in the weapons, gunpowder, as they always say. You could factor that in as superior weapons. But look, man, we had scuffles with these people back and forth, and even with spears, sometimes we were kicking their ass. So that was not necessarily an issue. I told you the problem is spiritual. Truth is the problem. Truth. You know? And that's what I want us to really look closely at. What I can tell you, they lied about that whole narrative and how you were supposed to understand it. Here's the problem. Here are a few problems. The deception is so deep. Debates were had, different conferences to discuss the matters of Christian doctrine. Where were these things being discussed? In Rome. Who are the Romans? Remember that story I just mentioned about the Hebrew priests going up there and, to the Romans to tell on one of their own, right? And the Romans capture, they kill, they make an example of, don't be like this guy. Don't ever try to be a revolutionary up in here. The Romans are here, they're the kings. I want you to think about your own time. Steve Biko, Chris Hani. That is what it is. It's like, oh, you think you can challenge us. That's what happens. And so I want you to think about these dynamics. Think about the narrative differently outside your religious theology that you've been taught. I mean, they lied to you anyway. You may as well make your own interpretation if you want. But mine is a revolutionary one. That this individual was a revolutionary. He caused problems. He was exposing the lies by the religious leaders, the political system. The religious guys were like, we need to find a way to get rid of this guy. It's a problem for us. So, the narrative. So after they killed the man, made an example of him, they then started crafting the state religion of the Roman Empire. I won't go through that whole story, but the point is they had one conference after the other debating religious doctrine. Debating it. People, human beings, not the council in heaven by God and the angels. No. Human beings. The emperor of Rome called the bishops, said, let's sit and discuss, debate matters of doctrine. And that's why I say, hey, I'll debate doctrine. I feel I can debate doctrine too. Yeah. I've studied the texts. I have questions. Things that I think don't make sense the way they've been explained. Yeah. I mean, if some bishops in Rome, historically, in that period, could sit around and discuss and agree that this is official doctrine. No one talks outside this, né? No one talks outside of this thing. We are agreeing here. Anyone who does, heretic, kill. Yeah? So don't be confused. Don't be confused about what this is supposed to be about. We need to uncover all the layers of deception. Yes, the matter of the paint is important, but gotta go deeper than that, Africans. We just ended being excited. Jesus was black. Jesus. That doesn't do nothing. Learn the lesson. A man stood up, stood for an idea, challenged the system, and he got cut down. And we've seen examples of this throughout history. This is how you should read history, not this thing of, oh, the Lord came, we are saved. I think I don't need to make the argument for Africans that you are not saved from anything. You are not saved, you're not safe, nothing. Given the world you live in and the different global forces, your entire existence is based on the economic system of this world. Not of God, not of the kingdom of God or whatever, or the systems of this world. The powerful of this world, if they decided that they want to close the taps, you ain't gonna do nothing. Yeah, with your God too. So you see this thing, Africans, you see this thing. You have not been saved, you are not safe, nothing. Yeah, the only hope they gave you was after you die. And I mean, for people who are killing you a lot, I would be a bit suspicious that people busy killing me, telling me that after they're done with me, I mustn't worry, going to a better place. I'm careful, man. You know, I'm careful about where is this thing coming from. Who is saying this thing? You know, who is it? Whose idea is this? I always ask myself, whose ideas are these that we're busy subscribed to, living by, swearing by? The power to define, brothers and sisters, the power to define reality, the power to define civilization, to define progress, to define beauty, to define everything, to define what prosperity is and what it looks like. And so you see with us, we keep being in pursuit of that lifestyle. But economically, we are so at the bottom that the only way we can even taste the lifestyle that they have in the West is too costly for us. Because we, in terms of development, I mean, you can't even speak of manufacturing, especially in this country. Manufacturing, industry, innovation, we are nowhere. And so you keep pursuing these lifestyles, but it means then you must be locked into their financial systems and all these things. And so your governments, I want you to understand this, your governments are a reflection of you. That's why I said the state is like you in your household. You are your state. How do you run things in your home? You love Gucci, you love this and that, you are pursuing Mercedes-Benz, you're right there. The values of what it means to be prosperous and progressive. Let me ask you this. If you had $1 billion, would you rather buy an expensive car or build a factory in your community? I'm just saying, what are we in pursuit of? The power to define, brothers and sisters. As long as our world is defined by others in terms of what progress must look like, the destination we are going to, what it must look like, then we are simply on a bakkie. Someone else is driving. We're not sure where this car is supposed to be going. We don't know how anything works. We're just there as passengers. We're hoping that whoever is driving is going where it's favorable for us. Unfortunately, it's not, but we as Africans, we are eternally hopeful. We also have the hope of Jesus Christ, by the way, that upon his return, everything will be fine. I hope you are right, Africans. I sure hope you're right. But brothers and sisters, don't feel somehow. I know it's your faith and everything. You might be triggered. Like I said, I just want to get us to think a little. Think a little. and not allow ourselves to be distracted by the things that are happening in the political theater. Let's read. Let's read behind all these things. Look behind the veil. Try to understand deeper what's happening. Let's not get too excited, too excitable. Brothers and sisters, all things said in love, I'm just saying we need to decide what we want to do. As for me, I've decided I have to do hard things now. I have to make hard choices. Because the geopolitical reality, it's showing me the geopolitical pressure that is mounting. I'm telling you. I know we're excited because we see Traore and, I mean, it's still a bit early to tell what that is and how it's going to develop. I mean, as much as, I would love for that to be something progressive, but we are yet to see, how that all is going to play out. But as long as the majority of us have bought into this financial system, nothing is getting ready to happen. And unfortunately, our people think this thing is outside of them. As long as you are going to buy spinach and vegetables and fruits and whatnot at Pick and Pay, you ain't coming out of this. Once you start growing it in your backyard, that's something. That's progress. You're going somewhere. It's a start. You've started somewhere. But as long as you're completely locked in, forget it. Forget it. Peace and love, brothers and sisters. Didn't want this to be too long. Shalom.